So before we get started today, I just wanted to reach out to you guys and ask you to please like and subscribe to my video. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll help the channel out a lot. And it'll get me some cool sponsors, maybe, hopefully, so I can get some better cars on the channel, some different cars. I mean, I'm hoping 8080 might want to sponsor me. I don't know. You know, they give good, cool giveaways of cars, Ferraris, Lambos, maybe even some Range Rovers. I don't know. They give away a lot of cars anyways. But yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. So if you guys hit the like and subscribe, because I know you guys are watching my videos, but my conversion rate is kind of low. Like, yeah, I think like 98% of you haven't subscribed yet, but you do watch the videos, you do like them, but I need more subscribers. That'll help out the channel. It helps me out so much, and I super appreciate it when you do it. And it doesn't cost you not one red cent. So please hit that like and subscribe button. What's going on, everybody? This is California Kaldune, and today we are going to be reviewing the 2021 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT sedan. That's the AMG GT 53. It's a super sedan, but with no soul. Or does it have a soul? Because I know it has a hatchback, but a lot of people call it a sedan. Is it a crossover maybe? I'm not sure. We'll find out in just a second if this car really has what it takes to be labeled an AMG GT, or is it just a regular Mercedes? Or is it neither? Let's find out. Let's take a good look at this car in an in-depth review, and let's meet the villain, guys. The four-door GTs come in models such as the 43, 53, which is what we have here, 63, and 63S. The 0 to 60 on this car is 4.4 seconds. The ranges on the horsepower for models entry level all the way up to the Big Daddy 63 are 369 horsepower to 630 horsepower. This particular model is rated at 429 horsepower with 384 feet of torque. Not bad. While the 63 has a 0 to 60 at 3.3 seconds with 577 horsepower and 590 feet of torque. This is all mated to a 9-speed gearbox. 9-speed for good fuel economy, and also it's modern. You want 9 speeds, right? Sounds like you're putting all that power down into the gearbox and to those wheels. And guess what? It's delivering it through the Mercedes-Benz 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. So you're not going to be burning out and losing traction. So it's easy to say that the problem is not exactly the car's transmission, maybe not even the car's engine. So why am I saying that this beautiful car right here may not have a soul? I think the answer lies clearly somewhere underneath the car or inside. But let's just call it weight. Maybe this car is just too heavy. It's got all the looks of an AMG GT. Is it really an AMG car? Let's talk about that. Let's go inside. Okay, so jumping in, it obviously is a real AMG GT, right? It says it right there on the screen. You take a look around and it looks very Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. It even says it on the seats. But here's the problem with the car. Well, not necessarily the problem with the car. This car is an AMG GT, but it is not a stretched out version of an AMG GT. It is actually a CLS and E-Class platform merged together and stretched out to make this car. Now, those are two very, very, very good cars, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the idea of this car is where the problem got started. They wanted to make AMGs more likable, more user-friendly, more affordable, more eco-friendly, so they started bringing out these variants. The 53 is actually a very well-equipped car, but it has something that other cars don't. Can you guess what it has? A hybrid system with an electric battery and electric motor that increases the power of the V6 turbo engine. That's right, V6 turbo engine. When's the last time you heard of an AMG car with a V6 turbo? And it delivers a linear, no gap, no hesitation, power delivery system that makes the car feel very, very, very powerful, but very smooth. So you don't really have that rocket ship feeling in this car. And I think that's the theme of the car. It's actually smoother handling and just better in the eco-friendly sense. but it lacks that drive and that motive that makes you want to pull out a machine gun and just drive through the dirt and the grass right there and just start shooting bullets into the air and celebrating that you've got an AMG. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. Let's take a look at the engine real quick. And herein lies part of the deception of the car. You see the typical AMG motor looking very healthy and big and nice. But yeah, not very loud. I've been around some AMG cars and just idling, they sound like they want to blow up. And this one doesn't. It's been civilized and it's been tamed down so I can give you better MPGs. As a matter of fact, this car gives you 24 miles to the gallon, or so they say. I mean, in real life, probably gives you around 14 to 15 driving through the streets of LA. But yeah, the car's been basically made civilized. That's not too much of a bad thing, but if you're looking for a monster, you may not find one here. And being a civilized car isn't necessarily bad in today's world of Porsches, especially the Panamera. I mean, taking a good look at the Panamera, it's kind of hideous, and this thing's beautiful inside and out. Then you've got the BMW M5, right? And those M5s, they're very sporty and they're good horsepower cars for the buck. I mean, you get 600 horsepower, right around $112,000 spent in, and you'll have pretty much what the top of the line AMG car will give you. So that's a horsepower bargain, but it doesn't have, I guess, the AMG reputation. Getting to the point, I mean, this is supposed to be a dialed down version of the AMG GT, and it is a dialed down version, but the deception is really where they make you feel like, well, the M5 is just a regular sedan that they boosted up the horsepower, and this is a sports car that they basically detuned and made friendly for four doors and people to sit in. And it kind of isn't that. At least at this model and this price point, it's not really that. So the problem for me is kind of like how the Smoking Tires channel put it, where they describe this particular model as very smooth handling, but it has a big problem. It's a 2021 vehicle, right? And it's putting up some very strong numbers in 0 to 60, even considerably in horsepower, and also fuel economy. But if you go look at the numbers of a 2004 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, they're almost identical. And as a matter of fact, the AMG seems to be a little bit faster through the quarter mile, and that car's old. So it's like, what's going on, Mercedes? Like, why are you holding the car back? Why are you holding it back on purpose? Is it, the eco standards? Are you just trying to appeal to more people to sell more cars? I think it's all the above, because the reality is, if the old AMG E55 had a 9-speed automatic transmission similar to this, it would probably put up the same or better numbers, maybe even get better fuel economy. And that's the sad reality of it, is that this car is being detuned to meet the standards of what we want, as opposed to some engineers, some mechanics getting together and just making the craziest machine they could think of and delivering that. And I think that that's really what happened to this car. So by no means am I saying this car is bad or anything. It's not. I'm just saying it's a different car from what you might expect and what you might be thinking you're going to get. So maybe you are missing the point of exactly what this car is. And what is this car exactly? It's a gorgeous executive car that is different. It's not your run-of-the-mill Porsche Panamera that you'll see at every corner. It's not your subtle BMW that you can't even tell what it is. This car has a distinctive look. It's elegant. It's designed for executives that want to go fast but don't want to be heard. And it also has a very, very, very sinister presence in a great way. I mean, look at the front grille of this thing. This is a car that you would want to buy if you just wanted to relax in comfort and also have a little bit of speed above the rest. Doesn't sound too bad. When you think of it this way, you're getting exactly what you're paying for. Now, if you think of this car as a rocket ship or some sort of hypercar or a super exotic car that's supposed to deliver 200 miles an hour and be able to crash the sound barrier and go to light speed, you're missing the point of this car. And I think that's why people badmouth this car sometimes, is because they missed the exact point of what is the variant AMG GT 53. And I think once you get past all that stuff that's in your head and your misconceptions about what this car is, you will love this car more than anything. Because in reality, if you want cheap horsepower, get a Tesla. For $150,000 or $140,000, you'll have more power than a hypercar. And you'll be able to do 200 miles an hour and have 0 to 60s in 1.9 seconds. But when you get in the interior of a Tesla, it does not look like a Mercedes-Benz AMG GT 4-door. It'll look like something you probably didn't think you should invest money in. On certain levels, it's too basic. I know you've got some screens, and I'm a Tesla fanboy. The screens are great, the seats look all right, but the interior, the total delivery of the car isn't the same experience as owning one of these. This car really makes a statement. It'll really make you feel special every time you get in and out of the car. The Tesla does have better technology, hands down, everybody knows that, but the soul element of the Tesla is actually a little bit lower than this in some ways. It's missing a personality. Now this car has personality, but in the soul world of AMGs, it doesn't have the soul of a true AMG. Right away, it makes a statement to you. Look at those glowing eyes staring back at me. Yep, that's the AMG GT 4-door, hatchback sedan, whatever you want to call it. Starting it up, you get a good notice of the AMG logo right there and some awkward chiming. Let's go over a little bit about this interior. First off, foremost, you do not get a Mercedes-Benz that has more style or class. Take a look at this inside here. You've got this lovely, lovely seat in this blood orange color over black and gray. Stainless steel, which looks like stainless steel from far away, but it might be something different. Actually feels like wood and stainless steel. It's odd composite material. You got the stitching, got the AMG seats. You've got a sunroof, which the new Teslas don't have. You've got this center console here, which is actually a screen. I mean, screens aren't a big deal, but the fact that they went out of their way to make each button identifiable through pixels and screen is just really great. There's great shift knob here, which gives a true AMG feeling. It's nice and big, which is something that cars are really steering away from nowadays. They don't have that good shift knob. I mean, Tesla did away with it completely pretty much. I mean, you've got a screen that you can select a button and put the car in drive, put the car in reverse. You've got interchangeable gauges. You've got a good solid steering wheel. It's very solid, very tight, very nice. I mean, you got all the buttons in the world you could think of. And granted, I mean, Mercedes still has not put one button in particular, which I think is important, to be able to shuffle through your stations. It's still not here. I mean, you've got a volume control button. You got some mouses that do some stuff. But yeah, you don't have the ability to fast forward through your stations on this button. And this is a 2021 car. When do you think Mercedes is going to figure that out? Well, actually, look, it's listening into me right now. It's listening to everything I'm saying. I think it's reporting me to Mercedes-Benz. This might be the last car I'll be able to review from Mercedes. But in reality, this isn't from Mercedes. I borrowed this car from my friend Tony. Again, Tony, the good guy, lending out his cars to me. You've got these, you know, center consoles here that just do everything and give you all kinds of feeling and description. You know, the Sport Plus. I mean, this is all something that you can go and watch another video for. But I mean, the detail here, the attention to it is just amazing. This is all electronic. This is, you know, it's real time. It's functional. You can see the buttons change. The little switch right here changes. I mean, you get this on your Porsche and you get this on different cars, but you don't get this on, I guess, a Tesla or some other car like a Jaguar. You wouldn't get that, but you do get a different feel of this car. Now, I have sat in BMWs and I have sat in some other vehicles lately, and I got to tell you, the feeling of this AMG GT is truly different from those cars. This car does feel more sporty. It does feel more intentionally designed to be a car that is comforting you. You know, it feels like it was really directed at you. And I guess that is in part of the problem with the vehicle, that it is directed more towards a public, and they're just not being as dangerous and as provocative as they were in the past with some of their designs and some of their key elements. But it works. You know, it really does, and it really does make a great executive car. And especially the attention to detail, like even the lighting here, each of these vents are, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a purple hue that comes through on each of these vents. So at night, you have this all lit up in whatever color you selected, and those are lit up in purple. Now, if for those of you who don't like to click through screens and stuff, there are buttons down here, which is great. And not every car offers that, mainly Tesla. You know, and some of the Porsches now are completely buttonless in some ways with, you know, their screens don't have that many buttons, and a lot of things are steering away from buttons, but Mercedes seems to really have it together with the buttons as far as knowing to provide those buttons to people, because people still want buttons, I think. The only thing that I don't 100% agree with is that, you know, the screen itself, it is nice and it does look good, but it just doesn't seem to jump out at me in a way like as far as, I don't know, there feels like there's something missing. Like I want some more familiarity out of the screen. It kind of looks foreign to me. Like I would want it to look more like what we see on our iPhones or our Google phones, just more familiarity. And I think that kind of might scare some people away, because when you jump in like a Tesla, for example, it feels like, you know, you're either using an iPhone or a Google product, and you can kind of, even the buttons look a certain way, and it just kind of drives home that energy of like, yeah, you know, everything's so familiar. But here it's different. And at least for me, it's different in the way where I feel it might be a little bit of a turn off, or it might be, I should say, scarier to use. And you do notice here that there are a lot of other good buttons here. You got this little rinky dink, hazard light right here, which, I mean, this has got to be one of the world's smallest hazard lights I've ever seen. It literally, it feels like a toy. It feels like it doesn't belong in this car. The cup holders are here. They're very deep. And I mean, they obviously will keep the drink from spilling, but I mean, they're awkwardly placed. And if you do have a tall drink, it will block these functions right here, which could be a problem. But I mean, in reality is, I mean, a lot of people do live life on the go, but I don't think they're going to be eating and drinking, you know, in their AMG GT to the point where that's going to bother them or really kill the deal for them to want to buy one. And speaking of which, something that wouldn't kill the deal to want to buy one, I mean, this might kill the deal, but I think if you're looking for a car like this and you're overly concerned about back seats, then maybe you're in the wrong car. But before we go back there, I wanted to point out something else. Another thing that's disappearing in cars is the sunroof. And this has a sunroof, but in true Mercedes-Benz fashion, even with this closed, I mean, you have this open, right? But then you want it closed. It's not actually closed, because right here, there are these vents. So I thought that when you close this, you close it so you don't get sun in. But as you can see, there's still sun coming in. So I don't really know if I'm crazy or if I'm just living in a Mercedes world. But I feel like this controversial thinking right here, where they don't care about what the public thinks and they just do whatever they want to do, I feel like they should take more of that and apply it around the rest of the car, especially in engine aspects. But that's just me. You know, okay, all right, enough of that. Let's go to the back seat. Oh, by the way, did you check out these seat functions here? Yeah, seat functions, pretty crazy, pretty cool. And I mean, this thing does have like, sorry to go on a tangent again, but yeah, it does have like different things for you right here. You've got a setting here that you can go through and look for, you know, like anything from your bolstering to, like, you know, setting it up for that kind of mood situation where the car will be programmed to basically like provide like a more of a mood setting. You can look at other videos for that. I don't really need to go through it. I think this might even have the air freshener. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the air freshener, but in some of these Mercedes, you can set them up for like ambient lighting and moods. So that way your seat's set a certain way. And that way you can also do some stretching and some other stuff in the car when need be. Maybe I'll put up a few screenshots or things of like people doing that. But yeah, there's an actual way to do exercises in the car, and the car can be equipped with a perfume that'll disperse throughout the whole entire car through Mercedes-Benz, of course, so you don't have to deal with those air fresheners. But yeah, let's take a look at the back seat. Okay, so jumping in the back seat right away, you notice that the door does open wider than normal cars of this type of model. You know, I think it opens a little bit better than the Porsche Panamera, in my opinion, a little wider. Sitting down here, I have the seat reasonably put up in the front. There isn't a terrible amount of legroom back here. I think that this car is really not for that kind of stuff. If you're gonna travel, or if you're a, you know, bigger person, you may not want to get a car that is this car. I mean, to put other big people in. I'm not a small person per se, but I'm not too big. I'm, you know, not very tall. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a heck of a lot of room back here, but I mean, it is a cozy environment. It is a nice environment. You do have, like I said, the lights and the lighting in here. That you got speakers back here. It looks welcoming and warm and exotic, but it just it just doesn't have that much room. And I mean, if you take a good look, like, where am I? Right there? Yeah. You see, like, this is my hand, and I'm not a tall guy, so this could be a problem for tall people. And all, something I love is that the Mercedes-Benz have these adjustable seatbelt things, because, you know, those can get a little awkward, and a lot of cars don't have those anymore, but Mercedes, they do. All right, let's get out of here. Love the attention to detail right here. Take a look at these exhausts. Very nice exhausts. Opening the trunk. I mean, it's not too bad, but it's not too big. I mean, some of the seats look like they could potentially fold down. I'm not really too sure about that. There is a nice little speaker back here, which is odd. There is a healthy amount of room to put stuff in. So I would consider this in some ways more than a sedan. It is a hatchback slash crossover, in my opinion, in a way. The only problem I have with this big back here is that, you know, this is a very tall car. So, I mean, if you're putting heavy stuff in here, or like a big suitcase or something, you might scratch this whole back up trying to put things in here, because it is a little bit taller than usual. And I am standing on some grass right now, but I mean, if I even take a step down, it's not that much of a height difference. You know, you pick up your box and it's heavy and you're just like, I gotta throw it in here. That could be a problem for me. But again, if you're getting a car like this and that's a concern for you, maybe you shouldn't be driving a car like this that you're gonna put too much stuff in. But yeah, I mean, for a typical executive, I mean, it should be good, or a small family. Love spoilers. Love the fact that that spoiler looks so good and it deploys so nice. And when it's down, it looks very flush and nice. The car looks good any way you slice it. It looks good. It really does. It's a good looking car. It's not gonna disappoint with the fit and finish. It's not noisy inside. But for that, let's go ahead and take a drive around and see what this car is all about. I mean, God almighty, look at this thing. If you don't like it, you probably have something wrong with you as far as taste. I'm just kidding. If you don't like it, it's probably just not for you, but it's a beautiful car. Very pretty car. AMG wheels. Oh, and did I mention it comes with Michelin Pilot Super Sports? All right, so driving the AMG GT 4-door sedan, coupe, whatever, hatchback. Experience number one, the shift knob. That feels so good to put it into gear. Look at that. I got it set up in sport already, because that's what I like to drive in. And it looks like I got 168 miles of gas. Should be good. Spoiler is also deployed, so I mean, I guess I'm, for lack of a better word, getting spoiled with the spoiler deployed, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. Just pulling out of the parking lot, I can immediately feel the difference of this car compared to my Tesla Model S. It just feels different. It's very cocooned, very nice. The materials feel a lot better to my hands to touch than a Tesla. And I've driven, you know, obviously my Tesla, newer Teslas. I've driven Audis, Mercedes, Porsches, and a Ferrari. For those of you who don't know, I do have a Ferrari and I am a fanboy of Ferrari. But nothing compares to this Mercedes right now. Like, this car really makes you feel very, very good, and it makes you feel very sporty. And I mean, obviously it's reminding you right there that you're in an AMG, but when you step on the gas, you get that linear delivery of speed. And I mean, that is a good, I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, that's a good linear delivery of speed. But this car really isn't like a rocket ship. Like, you know, like, I gotta tell you, you know, my Tesla delivers more power. When you jump on it, you get thrown back, you feel like you want to vomit a little. This feels more like the car is delivering the speed to you, and you are receiving what you deserve, but not much more. And I think that that's okay. But when you're in an AMG model, you should be feeling like you're gonna throw up in here when the car hits the gas. I mean, that's my opinion of what the AMG should deliver of the old AMGs. I'm talking in relation to, if you have driven old AMGs, you will know what I'm talking about. It gives you that feeling of that pit of the stomach when you hit the gas. It feels like it really wants to take off. This car feels like it wants to take off too. I mean, sorry, I was getting a little hot in here, so I put the AC up. But you know what? This car, like I said, is more an executive car. And with that in mind, if you take away the fact that you're expecting a rocket ship and you just focus on the overall experience and the drive of the car, you'll notice that it's actually better in here, that there's less power in certain ways. For example, because there's less power, I accelerate, and when I'm driving and I'm actually using the car to go through little turns and stuff, you can feel that the car is connecting with the road a lot better. And that has to do with also the bigger tires in the back and the huge tires in the front, quite frankly. And they are Michelin Pilot Super Sports, so you know this car is serious business. Check this out here. Oh yeah, I gotta love that. I'm actually recharging my car right now. Look at that. Is that recharging? Yeah. Not every AMG can recharge. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I guess in a way, that kind of isn't what you expect to see on an AMG recharging. But in the future, all these cars might just be electric, so just get used to it. Maybe the AMG department will be a department where it has an electric motor and maybe hydraulic systems to propel the car, you know? Like maybe electric is gonna be the new in less than 5 years. And when I say that maybe, I mean like get with the program. That's what's gonna happen. So, you know, we're living in a different time now. This car just seems to deliver like a very good feel as far as the handling of it. It kind of reminds me of the best handling car in the world that I've ever driven, which is it's not anymore. It's my Acura NSX. This car has similar attributes of handling that the NSX provided. And I think that it's apparent when you drive this car around that you can see that this car is not something that doesn't provide an experience. I mean, it's a luxurious experience as far as just driving it. The fact that the car is driving in a straight line and you don't feel every last thud into your back is just super, super great. The fact that if I wanted to and I wanted to do 100 miles an hour and take a turn and have this car grip, I know it would grip. It could probably grip better than my Tesla, you know? The fact that when I'm pushing the brakes, I'm getting good, thorough feedback, which is way better than a lot of cars. This car has better brakes than my Ferrari, for that matter. I mean, the Tesla doesn't have anything on the brakes on this car. It does make you feel very secure too. Even though outside it looks like a very huge car, it doesn't drive like a big car. I want to classify this car as feeling like almost like as far as the size of it, it feels like something like a 3 Series or maybe like a car that isn't exactly this size, but it's definitely small. It feels smaller than what you are experiencing, and in reality to what you are experiencing. You know, it does feel smaller, and which is a good thing. It's a great thing that this car feels smaller to what you're used to and what you would expect, because that means when you're driving it, it's that much more nimble. You can be secure when you're flooring it, and you can be secure when you go around the corner that it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. And you don't have to worry. I feel like I could switch lanes in this car and just pass everybody up with no problem at all. And not every car this size provides that feeling. The Porsche, when I drove it, the Panamera, it felt a lot larger, it felt bulky compared to this car. It doesn't feel like a car that I would want to drive every day. And that's awkward to say. Put it in reverse, silk as butter. Look at that. Look at the graphics on this thing. Great. Bird's eye view right there, you know? Put it into gear, plop, drive. Here we are, no finicky buttons or weird levers to push. Look at that screen right there. Look at the resolution. That's good technology. Not every car has that. Not every car gives you that, you know? And as far as the sound in here, Everything is so well put together. You don't hear any creaking. You don't, like, nothing sounds weird. Like, you know, this feels like $100,000 car. And I guess what I'm saying is if you're focusing on the interior and the fact that the car is a smooth handling vehicle and it's not going to be a rocket ship, and you take all that and you put it together and you really focus, this car makes sense for the price point. I know you're going to be saying, well, you know, the M5 has horsepower, more horsepower, or this has more horsepower, that has more horsepower. But you have to factor in the styling of the car. You have to factor in the interior of the car. You have to factor in the pedigree of the car and what it is. And once you factor in all those things, and did I mention that, you know, the reliability of Mercedes is slightly better than a BMW, you will get why this car makes sense. And you will spend the money to get it. And you will be happy to. Is right now, these cars are rare. Like every other car is rare, but there's more exclusivity on this car currently because, you know, there is a chip shortage going around the United States and the globe. And so cars like this on the higher end, you could pick one of these up and probably make money on it 4 months later or 5 months later if you didn't want to keep it. But my point is that there's never been a better time to take a chance on a car and enjoy it. In my opinion, you wouldn't be taking a chance on this car. This car would be taking a chance on you. So if you have the money and you feel like leasing a vehicle or buying, but in my opinion, I would just lease it, go out and get one of these AMGs, you know? Right now, there isn't that many cars, so it's gonna take a while for this car to turn up used. Go buy one of these, go lease one. You will regret it if you have the wrong idea about this car and you're looking for a car that just has crazy horsepower and makes you feel some type of way, like a rocket ship, again. But you will not regret purchasing this car. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I said it doesn't cost you 1 red cent. No pun intended with this red seat behind me, but you like and subscribe, you hit the subscribe button for me. It means a big deal and helps promote the channel. And I know you guys are watching and I can see through the likes that you guys are liking my videos, but I need to convert more people. So definitely don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.